Hey everybody, it's BJ.
And Patrick.
And we're back talking all things real estate, though I kind of feel like saying Kermit the Frog here,
Reporting.
right?
Right?
So, hey, thank you for joining us today. If you haven't, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, because we are putting out a pile of content on the world of real estate and the economy and different things that are coming up right now, especially.
Oh, there's so many housing policies come out of
Right?
the federal government, provincial government. Yeah.
You know it's election time, so you don't want to miss any of those things. So give us a subscribe, and you won't, pardon me, miss anything. But we're going to get right into it today, and we're going to start with some different reports that have come out. And
Oh, yeah. This one's a doozy.
yeah, this one's a good one. I'm going to start with this is a report from the stories.com website, and the headline reads, "A Recipe for Disaster. Bureaucracy, taxes continue to add to housing crisis." So, let me get into this, okay? On the positive side, there's been a cultural shift in recognition by all levels of government that the problem is very real and we must find ways to get shovels in the ground quicker for housing. This seemed to be the consensus among speakers at the recent RESCON Housing Summit. That sounds very familiar. Like we have been on that bandwagon. We have been blowing that horn. I have certainly, about make it easier for builders and developers to do what they do, which is build and develop.
And the government should just get out of the way. We
Right.
need smaller government, not more red tape all over the planet.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So great. They understand that. They've addressed that it's an issue. But let me read this, okay? So this is the classic, we take one step forward and two steps back. Okay? So here we go. So they're talking about the different ways they're streamlining the taxation process with sales taxes and things like that for purpose-built, obviously rental homes, but okay, so there's that process. And this is talking about specifics in Ontario, but I think we could take this to say it probably applies to, certainly it would apply to BC and other provinces as well.
Yeah, we got David Eby has implemented BC Builds to help exactly this, to speed up the process and cut red tape.
Right. Okay. On the negative side, though, here we go.
Yep.
Any savings from the sales tax are negated by the fact that development charges are going up. In Toronto, DCs alone for single detached homes have increased from $12,910 in 2010.
And DCs are development costs.
Development costs.
Yeah.
Okay. So in 2010, $12,910. Okay, ready? In 2024, so that's 14 years, $141,139. So that is a 993% hike.
I wish, if a municipality ran like a business,
Yeah,
they would be bankrupt.
right.
Because you can't just keep charging, like, all your property tax, people that pay property taxes are hostage by, like, financial mismanagement,
Yeah.
right?
So, yeah, 100%.
That's it.
Yeah. So watch this. Taxes, fees, and levies account for 31% of the cost of a new home.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, like, there needs, like, the developers need to pay for roads and sidewalks and lights and sewers and drains and whatever else I've forgotten, right? Curbs,
Yeah.
whatever. But it gets a little bit ridiculous when, it's not a fee for a permit anymore. And I know that, like, not to confuse a development permit with a building permit. Those are two
Yeah.
different permits.
Sure.
But it's the same applies. Like, they're going to tax the building permit and they're taxing the development permit.
Sure.
So, and on top of the development permits, like, maybe a place like Langford, it goes through fairly quickly. Like if it's 8 months or a year, especially if the developers are organized.
Sure.
But if it's somewhere where, like, it's Victoria, Vancouver, Toronto,
Yeah.
it takes years. I'm talking 3 to 5 years to get a project approved.
Yeah. Well, I go back to talking about Victoria. I go back to the harbor. 10 years,
Oh yeah.
$1 million, not a shovel in the ground.
Now, the I don't think it's the direct fault. I think it's an indirect fault of community groups that want to preserve the heritage or look of different areas. But when you look around, there's nothing like heritage that is preserved. Like,
Yeah,
so many other projects examples are redeveloped, even if they have a facade of like the old heritage, right?
sure.
So why does it take one project 10 years and some projects only take 3 or 4 years to get pushed through? Now, I get it. The developer's asking for more than what's, the city is looking for in that area.
Sure.
I get it.
But
There's a
there-
negotiation with the city, but still
100%.
taking 10 years.
10 years.
It's
So,
ridiculous.
I'll give you another example. I have clients who own a commercial building, and they're trying to do some specific renos to one of the spaces.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I know what you're talking about.
right.
Yeah.
So they can use it for a certain purpose.
Mm-hmm.
The zoning allows for it, et cetera, et cetera. But it's been one thing after another. Oh yeah, we asked you for that and you've given it to us, but we want this as well. Okay, well you got that for us, and oh, by the way, you know what? You should give us this as well. Yeah, and every time they keep moving the goalposts, right? Every time, basically, here's what's happened. Every time they come up with something, the municipality, in this case Victoria, which is notorious for doing this,
Yeah, Victorian Saanich are infamous for this. Yeah.
right? That they keep moving the goalposts to the point where, my client is like, do I even want to do this? Because it's just, you're just, at this point, they're just spending money.
And there's no accountability for all of this either,
Right.
right? Because it is costing your taxpayer, and no one cares. No one, or how about no one seems to care
Sure.
that it's costing the private property owner
Yeah.
all of this,
Right.
when it's possibly like there's some allowable uses that they could do already, and then they're asking for something. They might be asking for something new and they want to follow the requirements.
Yeah.
But they keep adding, like you said, they keep adding more requirements.
Yeah,
Why can't this be? This is part of like the provincial BC Builds thing, is like stating clearly online what is the standard
Yeah.
to meet.
Yeah.
And then once you've achieved it, you're
Yeah.
approved.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yeah,
welcome to the
and
municipalities.
Right. And I think that's what this article is talking about. And like I said, I've been a proponent of this from the start. If you want to make it easy, or like bring down the prices, make it easier for builders and developers. So 31% of a new home build is the cost to the municipality.
Yes. So when this will only be fixed, I thought about this a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So this will only be fixed when the municipalities stop relying on these development cost charges and permit fees
Yeah, for their budget.
for their budget.
Yeah, their annual,
So
actual, regular.
they need a financial audit, and they need financial responsibility,
Yeah.
and somehow we don't put enough pressure on them to do this.
Yeah.
And we can't all of a sudden, like, what was it? Was it Burlington or Brampton in Ontario? So this is what they're doing over there. They're going to give the developer or builder a discount on the DCC's permit fees, but it's subsidized. The city is going to be subsidized from the provincial government of Ontario.
Right. I
So
think
the fee is not actually going down.
Yeah.
It's just being paid by somebody else, which is the
the
taxpayer.
Yeah.
So they still can't wean themselves off of the big monies, the slush fund, the money supply
Right.
from really the home buyer,
Yeah.
right? Or
Yeah.
the commercial developer.
Sure.
So
Yeah. So here we are. I think, they really hit it right on the head with this article. Something has to change systemically in order to,
what's massively hypocritical
yeah.
when we
Sure.
advocate for, it doesn't matter on what level of affordability or availability, and then they restrict. I'm all about restricting something that is in high demand and make it scarce and make the value go up.
Yeah.
I totally get that, but I'm not the mayor. I'm not the mayor. I'm the private property owner.
Yeah.
I want my value to go up. What do
Sure.
I care, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the longer it takes to get things approved, or the more difficult it is. I'm in the most flexible, fastest municipality for growth.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I'm not in that municipality anyways.
Yeah.
It's all the other surrounding municipalities
Sure.
that are more
And
encumbersome.
yeah, and we're talking about here, but I think in every market, there's going to be some level of this that has to be dealt with the bureaucracy, where I think for some, it's their job, right? The bureaucrat, I mean. So they don't want to give up. They don't want to see things streamlined.
There's still an obligation. Like, let's say it's like Oak Bay.
Yeah.
You got your $4 million mansion. Do you want affordable housing built right
Well,
beside you?
yeah, absolutely. I think I'm all for due diligence. I'm all for making sure things are done properly, and I'm all for understanding that you're not going to have low-income housing in Oak Bay.
So that's my point. Not everywhere should be obligated to provide things like this.
100%.
But there should be places for that.
Yeah.
But then there's going to be communities where they want to preserve the way they have it there.
Right.
I don't care. It's a gated community. It's a luxury community. It's a higher end. I don't
Sure.
care. Right? But
Yeah.
like that should not be forced upon other places where then you have a huge income disparity.
Well, I think the thing I'm getting at is cut back on the bureaucracy and red tape here.
Period.
Period. If regardless of what due diligence needs to be done, so that we want standards, we want policy, we want these things, but what we're
Yeah,
seeing.
there's zoning bylaws for that already.
Yeah, but what it's funny. I think what we're seeing is that it's, to me, it's like, oh, well, let's just give them something else to do so that we have a job. Did I say that out loud?
How is it so many governance models? I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but like city management and companies, they want to change for the sake of change when things were working just fine, right?
Yeah.
Don't fix it if it's not broken.
Right.
Not broken, leave it.
Right. Yeah. So a couple of numbers on this, and this is obviously based, as I said, in Toronto, but we could probably take some relevance to these numbers. Maybe they're prorated a little bit out here, but they're going to apply. So talking about DCs, okay, and the costs.
Yeah.
So they have increased 42% in the last year in the Greater Toronto area.
The last year.
42% in the last year.
Well, they're so behind on their what's their drainage system?
Got me on that one.
They had a big flood in Toronto, and they haven't been paying into like their whatever their drainage system, and now
Okay.
like they had a big issue.
Yeah. So let me we're talking about time to get things done and projects and whatnot. Let me put some numbers out there for cost. Okay. So average, the average of 20.3 months per application. That's what they're saying in Toronto is the average.
It's almost 2 years, yeah.
So it can add between $43,000 and $90,000 per unit in a condo.
Per unit?
In a condo, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. And for
So
what?
that's based on a 5-year average timeline to build a condo.
So you employed one person for 20.3 months for $43,000 to $90,000 per unit.
Yeah.
Did they put in that much time of work? It's not. You're not paying. Like the city is just flat out robbing.
Sure.
It's flat out theft.
Yeah.
This is not a service that they've provided.
Yeah.
What are they? How much time does a city spend on like approving a plan? I'm sure there's hundreds of hours, but spread it over 100 units. Give me like that's yeah. That's just flat out theft.
Yeah, it's crazy. So we say all that
I could
to
get
say
worse on this. Like I
but-
could keep going, but
right.
I'll stop for now.
Yeah, but
save it for
we-
another episode.
Yeah, we say all that. I think to say I'm going to come back to what I've said repeatedly. If we want to make housing more affordable or bring down the cost of homes, we need to make it easier for builders and developers to do what they need to do.
We have to eliminate hypocrisy to start.
Well,
Anyways.
and you know, can you imagine going to a football game and your team is about to score and they're like, no, we're moving the end zone, we're blasting out the end of the stadium and we're moving the end zone another 50 yards away,
And there's a toll booth
right?
at the same time.
Yeah.
And like a time penalty,
Right.
and you're
Yeah.
just getting older, and
Right.
it's getting more expensive, and you still haven't
Yeah,
had a touchdown.
right. But it's not the government's fault, or it's not the setup of the bureaucracy that's causing it,
Yeah, of course not.
right?
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. Anyway, thanks for joining us. If you haven't, give us a like and a subscribe. Like we said, we've got a pile of great content coming out. You don't want to miss anything. And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.